talking some more, but we do want to go ahead and get the event started. So I wanted to take this opportunity to give you a quick introduction. My name is Kevin Loretto. I'm the Director of Sales for Creative Stage Lighting. And I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the Premier Creative Stage Lighting webinar event, the future of live event and performing arts industry. And thank you for attending. This is the first in our series of webinars. The goal is to keep you informed on the state of our industry and its changing landscape, as well as to provide you with information on the latest technologies and trends affecting the entertainment lighting business. Future events will include a focus on digital lighting and converging technologies, a webinar regarding how LEDs are changing the face of both entertainment lighting and architainment, the future of wireless technology in the live event marketplace, and a broad range of other topics affecting all our futures. We have an event section on the Creative Stage Lighting website where we'll be keeping you posted on upcoming events and dates. So please make sure that you check that out regularly, and we'll also make sure we keep you all in the queue via email. You can check that out at www.creativestagelighting.com. During the course of this webinar, you'll have the opportunity to participate in several polls to get your input on some of the topics that Rich will be speaking with us about, as well as a questionnaire at the end to get your feedback on what you'd like to see in future events. As you're already aware, today's guest speaker is Richard Cadena. Richard has been in the entertainment lighting industry since 1986. Many of you know him as the editor of PLSN magazine, and as such, he has his finger on the pulse of the industry. Richard is a portal for industry news and information and talks regularly with the movers and shakers in our business. He's written 3 books: Automated Lighting, The Art and Science of Moving Light, Focus on Lighting Technology, and Lighting Design for Modern Houses of Worship. In addition, Richard is a certified entertainment electrician and a recognized ETCP trainer, as well as a freelance lighting designer specializing in green design. So he's very familiar with the issues that we're all dealing with on a daily basis. So if you would all now please join me in welcoming Richard Cadena. Richard?
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. And also a big thank you to Creative Stage Lighting for inviting me to do this. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for being here. And I hope you will check out the entire Creative Stage Lighting webinar series. I think it's going to be really good. So today's topic, I just got back from the Plaza Trade Show in London, and while I was there, I went to an industry party. And I overheard these 4 guys talking about the live event production industry. One of them said, I have a friend in the industry who makes $750 a day. That's pretty good, isn't it? The next guy goes, oh yeah? What does he do? The first guy says, well, he's an automated lighting programmer. Another guy speaks up and he says, that's not bad, but I have a friend in the industry who makes about $1,000 a day. The first guy says, really? What does he do? And he said, he's a lighting designer. Then another guy spoke up and he goes, hey, that's nothing. I have a friend who makes well over $2,500 a day. The first guys say, wow, that's impressive. What does he do? And he said, he does the exact same thing I do, except his business card says he's a consultant. Can you really make $2,500 a day in this industry? There are really people out there who do it, but the question is, how do you get there? Now, one of the main things that I'd like for you to take away from this webinar is the idea that you control your own future. It's not your boss, it's not your colleagues, it's not what you've done in the past, but it's what you can do in the future. And there are certain things that influence our current economic state and technological environment, but that's also how opportunity is created and lost. So some of the things we're going to be talking about today are the current economic environment and how it can impact your career. We're going to talk about career options that are available to you, how much money you can expect to make, what the emerging technologies are and the opportunities they bring, and most importantly, how can you best prepare for your future in the live event production industry. Now, before we begin, I'd like for you to take a moment to think about and set your intentions. I'd like for you to visualize your career goal in your head. Think about it. Make it realistic and attainable, something that you really want to do or really want to become, and I would like for you to write it down right now in the form of a question. Something such as, how can I become an ETCP certified rigger? or how can I become a lighting designer, or whatever. I'd like for you to write that down on a piece of paper right now. While you're thinking about that, I'll tell you a little bit about my own career path in the lighting industry. You know, I used to work for a big lighting manufacturer for about 13 years, and I made a really comfortable living. And in November of 1996, my wife and I were blessed with a beautiful baby daughter. About a year later, I was laid off. Now, fortunately, I found a new job in the industry right away, and subsequently bought a new home in July of 1998, and in August of 1999, I was laid off again. So I started a new business selling lighting gear in December of that year, and you know, it was going pretty well up until 9/11, and then the bottom dropped out, and that pretty much put an end to the business. So suddenly I found myself with a new baby, a new mortgage, and no income. It was a pretty, honestly, it was a scary feeling. But after that, I vowed to become layoff proof, and I did everything in my power to figure out how to do that. In March 2003, I published my first book, Focus on Lighting Technology, and today I'm working on my fourth book, which will be called Electricity for Entertainment Electricians and Technicians. It'll be out in March of 2009. So now I have a certain amount of security, knowing that should anything happen to my job, I do have options. And honestly, that's the best security you can have in any economic situation, and that is to have options. So let's talk about how you can create more options for your own developing career. Now, by this time, I hope that you have written down your intentions on a piece of paper. And during the course of this webinar, I would encourage you to ask questions, or at least write them down and save them for the end. And I think it's, the reason I'm asking you to do this, I think it's really important to get in the habit of asking questions and drop your inhibitions about asking questions, because the one thing I've learned after extensive research in this industry is that no one knows everything, right? So you can rest assured that when you ask a question, there's probably somebody else in the room who wants to know the exact same thing, and nobody's going to be shocked or point fingers at you because they think you're ignorant. You know, we're all ignorant about one thing or another. Benjamin Disraeli, the former Prime Minister of the UK, once said, "The fool wonders, the wise man asks." So let's talk about the world around us. There are certain factors that are heavily influencing our industry today. First of all, we live in a global village where communication and collaboration around the world is very simple and inexpensive, and the competition, honestly, is very intense. Secondly, we're in the midst of a population explosion, and that translates to an increased supply of labor and brain power. And that means that any job you want is likely to be heavily pursued, and you have to do something to counter that. And lastly, we live in exponential times where technology is really changing at a rapid pace. The global village is a term coined by Wyndham Lewis in his book, America and the Cosmic Man, in 1948, but it was popularized by Marshall McLuhan in his book, The Gutenberg Galaxy, The Making of Typographic Man. The book describes how electronic mass media have broken down the barriers in both time and space and allow people to interact and collaborate on a global scale, and that's exactly what's going on right now.